Hi guys. So it's been a long time since I posted on YouTube, a very long time. But I'm still active on Reddit. I'm still very active on Quero, and um, I'm going to share in another video some very exciting things that have happened to me and how I blew up on other social media, other platforms. So I'm going to discuss that soon. I look like hell. I had a day off. I got this shirt on that makes me look huge, and my hair is a mess, but I wanted to get on here and get to it. So I decided I was going to make a video, right? And I was going to share with you guys how I found the law of assumption. And it ain't going to be what you think, for real. I want to share this with you guys, and if you're having doubts, or if you're in a stuck mode with your manifestation, or you're spiraling out of control, I want you to hear this, okay? Because this might be very important for you to hear, okay? So, how I found the law. In 2001, I think it was during COVID. That winter going into March of the shutdown during COVID occurred in March, I believe, of 2021. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it did. And I worked as an EMT, but one of my part-time jobs was bartending at a huge steakhouse, and that's what I did. And I remember it was probably within the week before we shut down, I was walking towards some of my coworkers, and for the longest time, every once in a while, I would get this stabbing abdominal pain. Like, it was stabbing. And I literally collapsed. Like, I almost hit the floor. And I'm in front of my coworkers. I'm walking down this jury hallway of this corridor here, and my coworkers are like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I caught myself before I hit the floor, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I thought at the time, because I had an IUD, I was like, maybe the IUD has launched itself somewhere, like it's embedded, and I need to go to the doctor because maybe I need surgery, maybe it needs to come out, right? So I made an appointment with my gynecologist. And you have to hear the story to understand how I found the law. So I made an appointment with my gynecologist, and during my exam, he felt something abnormal. So he sent me to the hospital that day, and I had some tests done, and I had an ultrasound done. And they found a mass in my females, a pretty decent size mass, along with some cysts and other things that was going on. I'm no stranger to endometriosis. I've had issues with my females since my teenage years, so I have not been able to have children for quite a few years, and we'll get to that later. But I did have children, but later I wasn't able to anymore. So anyway, I am just like shocked, like completely, utterly shocked. Like, what? Like, this can't be real, right? And so I had the test done. I saw the mass, by the way, on the ultrasound, and I knew what it was because I'm also, been in a medical field for, at this point, 2 decades, and I worked various jobs and as a EMT, as well. So I've worked in emergency. I've done things. I know. Okay, let's just put it that way. So I knew this thing was creepy, and that Sunday night, I'm picking up my part-time job bartending at this very popular roadhouse steakhouse, and we get a fax that we have to immediately shut down at 9 p.m. I believe it was. I was like, oh, great. Just within days, I find out I have a tumor, and that's what's been causing my pain. And I'm waiting on my tumor markers to come back and some other labs to see what's going on. And Now the country's being ordered to shut down. It was a blessing in disguise, guys. So I literally, if you hear this weird noise in the background, it's my German Shepherd chewing on his bone. I apologize. So basically what ended up happening was the shutdown happened. I even got laid off from my EMT job. My family members are all laid off too, and we're all at my house, and everybody is trying to literally file for unemployment online. Some people are locked out of their accounts. It was a freaking mess. It really was. So, you know, we're all just trying to get this stuff together. At the time, I was in a relationship. I had been with this person for quite some time, and we'll get to him here in a few too. So I'm not good at storytelling. I'm really not. I hope I get better with time. I'm a great writer. I write, you know, I'm a creator on other platforms. That's what I do. I write. But when it comes to actually like verbalizing it, oh Lord. So, you know, I'm waiting a couple weeks and everything, and the hospital where I had tests referred me down to another hospital, cancer center. And I go for my first appointment. I'm laid off at this point, and I go to my appointment, and I don't know what to expect. And the oncologist that I had was a great guy, and my tumor markers were elevated. I had a lot of issues going on in there, and then the biggest concern was this mass. Like, what was this mass doing? And because COVID shutdown happened, the hospitals were basically in emergency situations only. So the ER was open, admittance was open, labor and delivery was open, and surgery, if absolutely need be, was open. But everything else was pretty much closed. A lot of doctors' offices were doing telecom conferences with their patients. If you don't know what that is, it's like a Zoom. Like, they see you like face to face, like how you're watching me now. It depends on what they were using. So if we're like, okay, we're going to watch this mass, right? And a couple weeks go by, more weeks, and I go for my next ultrasound. Everything is dormant, you know, it's just chilling. And because they wanted to do the surgery, but they were kind of watching a tumor. In other words, I guess I should put that because people might flip out. To see if they were going to do another method, or if I was in fact going to have the surgery, right? Because the surgery is debilitating. Last case scenario, guys. Worst case scenario. And I had that ultrasound. It grew a little bit, but nothing significant. I go back, and like a week and a half later, I have the next ultrasound. Immediately get a phone call within a couple hours from my oncologist's nurse, and the RN called me, and she's like, we need to book you for surgery immediately. This thing is growing, and it's growing strong, and it has a pretty hefty blood supply, and blah, blah, blah. So the next day, I was scheduled for surgery in 48 hours. The next day, because they overnighted it, I got this huge package in the mail from oncology. Like, it made it record time. Like, that day I was on the phone with them, the very next day, that afternoon, I had this packet in the mail from FedEx. It was like delivered to me, and it had all my surgery information in it, everything else. And I'm like, I had a conference with my doctor over the phone real quick. Well, technically his nurse, but I was down there the last time in person for our meeting, and we did discuss the surgery and if I had to have it, like, what would happen, right? So long story short, let's just jump to it. This realization had not hit me yet, like, I'm gonna have this surgery. My family knew. They knew about everything. My one aunt, my Aunt Debbie, came and stayed with me. She was flipping out, you know, like, because we didn't know what was going on yet. And I want to mind you guys, there was no biopsy on this thing yet, okay? Because, well, there just wasn't. It was kind of in a position to where it really couldn't be. It was hid behind things. So I go have the surgery. My ex-boyfriend took me. I had a couple friends there, another family member, and they wouldn't let anybody in because the COVID shut down. So they were out in the waiting room. And when I woke up from surgery, I was like, the surgery was only supposed to be like an hour, hour and a half. I was in surgery for 8 hours. Like, what is going on? 8 hours? Why was I in surgery for 8 hours? The next place I woke up was in my room. I was the only person on my floor. There was a man down the hall from me that was in there recovering from colon cancer surgery. And my ex told me that they had to take everything. So I had a radical hysterectomy and then some, and everything was gone. Like, the tumor was a lot larger than they anticipated when they got in there. It was wrapped around, like, picture an octopus. It was just, like, wrapped around things. And it completely had destroyed. If we found out why I can no longer have kids after my last daughter, was because it literally annihilated my fallopian tubes. For real. So, bad times. So, it wasn't even, I was in a hospital like 3 or 4 days, and I come home, I can hardly walk, because I had not only the hysterectomy, but I had major abdomen surgery, and then some other things. I don't want to get too personal. And so my recovery time is they're telling me about 4 months, and it did take absolutely about 4 months for everything, especially for my abdomen to heal. The muscle in my abdomen and ligaments and I don't know, whatever else is going on in there. So immediately, this is when it started. I got so bored. I couldn't sit up like I am right now. I couldn't sit straight up at all without excruciating pain. I could not. I pretty much was bedbound. I needed help to get to the bathroom. I needed help back to bed. I'm bedbound. At the time, this ex-boyfriend that I had was literally out drinking and partying like every single night. And I was getting fed up with that. Here I am, just went through a massive surgery. I'm recovering. And this guy who supposedly cares about me and all this is out here getting drunk with some of my guy family members and his friends every single night. So I'm alone. So I'm literally night after night after night in my bedroom. That was my turtle, guys. Sorry. I have a turtle. And I was in my bedroom, and this turtle, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. See what I did there? Oh, God. This turtle. I didn't even have my turtle yet. Okay. So I'm laying in bed every single night, and I'm human. That's my human brain of mine, by the way, and not my subconscious. I'm laying in bed every single night, and I think to myself, you know what? Shutdown's going on. I can't leave the house. I'm bored out of my freaking mind. I'm on my phone a lot. I literally am turned one side in the bed, and then I'm turned in the other side of the bed, and, you know, sometimes I'll put my hands up. I'm doing whatever, right? So I thought, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to imagine that I'm out doing things. I'm laying in bed with my little nightlight on. I'm sick of being on the phone. I'm just going to lay in my bed, and I'm going to think about things, you know, like I'd rather be doing and all this stuff and everything. And I started doing that every single night. Every single night. I would, like, go into my imagination. I would envision things, and I would drop it during the day, and then I would either stay on the same things or I would move on to something else, right? And I'm going to make a video on what I did with my ex on accident. Whoops. I kind of manifested him into a third party. I'm sorry, excuse me. It's really funny, but I'm going to post a video about that because it's hilarious. So be careful with what you do. I'm proof of that. So I didn't know anything about the law of assumption. My parents were Satanists. I grew up with, my grandparents raised me. I grew up a Wiccan. And I'm very familiar with Christianity, Satanism, you know, being a Wiccan and stuff. I even went to Bible school because my grandma wanted us to experience other things that were out there. And I did practice a lot of basic law of attraction back in the day, especially when I was in high school, and I had really great success with that. I really did. So, long story short, here I am, imagining all these scenes every night, right? If you're still watching, this is going to be gold. And I'm literally just going strong every single night, right? So, you know, a couple months go by. It's not 4 months yet, but about 3 months in, I can finally somewhat sit up straight. Cars were rough for me because we go over a bump or something, and because I had some removal lower, it was just like a stabbing pain. I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. But I was getting out of bed a little bit, but I'm still imagining like these things. So here it rolls around, like I'm coming out of my recovery time. I'm starting to go out of the house a little bit more, and shit starts happening. Like weird shit, right? And I thought, oh my god, things that I had imagined, rather I purposely imagined it, or it just popped into my crazy brain, you know, started happening to me in the 3D. I'm like, wait a minute, I imagined that. How is this possible that this just pops on up, you know? And it wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, right? It was constant. It just kept showing up. And I'm like a little horrified, because I didn't know about Neville Goddard at the time. I didn't know about the law of assumption. I didn't know about SATs, and that's actually what I had been doing. I had been doing SATs, but didn't know it because I didn't even know SATs existed. So here I am, envisioning all this stuff, and and lo and behold, guys, it just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And I eventually, when I already had a lot of animosity towards my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend at the time, and how he was not there for me when I was sick. He just wasn't there for me. I mean, he just wasn't. It was all about him, his partying, his drinking, him. And I ended up ending the relationship with him because he basically kind of cheated on me while I was sick. He did. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat shit, but he did. And I immediately ended it. I'm like, I don't want to be with a person like you at all. I've been single since, and this was years ago, but yeah. So, I ended up just kind of doing my thing, hanging out with friends. I eventually went back to work, and doing my thing, and the next thing I hear is one of my guy friends broke up with this girl that was a real head case, right? She was like mental, she has herpes, and she has a whole lot going on, and my loyalty was with my guy friend. She was just a girlfriend of his, and she was so psycho that my friend actually moved to Arizona to get away from this girl because she's batshit. And I can keep going. And she's one of those girls too that also sells herself. So she works at a small store, so she made a minimum wage. So what she would do is do things with men to cover her bills, etc. And I'm not knocking that lifestyle, but I mean, yeah, I can see why my friend wanted to get away from her drinking and the drugs and all that. That was the problem. So, lo and behold, my friend jets down to Arizona. A couple months go by. I hear a rumor from my ex's family member. I ain't gonna lie, it was his mom. It was his mom. I bumped into his mom at this veterans club that I'm a member of, and she's there, and she tells me about it. She goes, I heard he's seeing so-and-so, which is my friend that moved to Arizona's ex-girlfriend. So my ex is hooking up with her now. Yeah, the herpes girl. I'm not knocking herpes, okay? If you have herpes, I'm sorry, but this girl I hate. I hated her when she was with my friend, okay? So now I really don't like her. But who am I to say anything? I'm the one that broke up with him. Make that make sense, right? So, I'm like, whatever. But then it dawned on me when I was out having a few beers with some friends that I manifested this. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. I remember that sometimes when I was doing SATs unintentionally, because I didn't know it was SATs, that this image of, she always had car problems, was always breaking down, and I was sending my ex over to help her with her car. But for some reason, when at night before I fall asleep, there was a few times where I envisioned like those two hooking up. Guys, if I can happen. Like, I'm like, oh my God, there's another nut. This ain't a coincidence. I have surgery. I get back in what I thought was a real world, the 3D out here. And things start happening that I envision. I send my ex into a third party. And, like, all this stuff is going on. And more and more just kept happening. So, the fall, this is going on by you for, like, a few years after this, right? So, it just keeps going on. So, it's still going on. My hair's getting on my nerves, guys. It keeps going on for a while. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And fall of 2023, some things were getting too spooky. Like, I would instantly think it into existence or do what SATs, and it would, boom, they'd be right there. And I was like, whoa. I thought I got into something evil or something, you know, like I was a little taken back, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I immediately stopped doing everything. I was like, I don't know if it's because I'm imagining things and I'm going to sleep or what, but I stopped that too. I stopped everything. And I started doing my research, and months went by, and I'm not finding anything. I'm like, nothing. This never happened to no one else. Like, nothing. Like, I would search YouTube, I would search Google, I would search Facebook. I wasn't on TikTok or Instagram or anything at the time. And I'm looking around Reddit, because I've been on Reddit for years. And Quero, I'm a creator on there too. And I'm like, where is some information on this, right? Well, one night I come home from work. I'm not even thinking about any of this. And I sit down. I took a shower and I sit down, and I'm literally getting ready to scroll YouTube, watch some tarot readings, you know, whatever. I love that. I can do tarot too. I like my tarot readings. And I'm scrolling YouTube, and I find immediately, like, one of the first or two things that show up as soon as I open YouTube is this man called Neville Goddard, The Law of Assumption. And I was like, the fuck is this? I was like, well, maybe it's something like law of attraction, right? Maybe it is like law of attraction. So I ended up, thought, oh, I never heard of this before. So this is pretty unique. So I click on it. Over 2 hours later, I was in shock. I mean, utterly speechless, guys. In shock. I was like, oh my God, I've been manifesting. Duh. I mean, I really never even got into, like, the whole, like, manifestation thing and all this and all that. And I always just did law of attraction, like, being a mirror, like, what I put out comes back, that kind of thing, and some others. And I was like, I've been doing SATs. That's what I've been doing. That's what's been happening. And once I had a name for it, I just started studying Neville even more and even more and even more until I don't think we're ever really done studying, right? I read all of Neville. I went and I watched some coaches. I have a few favorites, and most of them are pretty new creators. But for the most part, I don't like these fly-by-night creators. As somebody who found the law first, without putting a name to it, like I was guided to. I do not take lightly these BS coaches with their, oh, your affirmations, and if you buy my course, and if you do that and do that. No. It's different if you want to help people, and I believe that very few do. I feel like if you honestly were a major manifester, then why do you need to charge people hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars? I mean, if you can really manifest money, why are you doing that? Okay, our time is not cheap. Our time comes with a price. That's awesome. But if you're making the content, you're doing, like me, I get paid by my writing on other sites, etc. I would never charge a person to coach, ever. Never going to charge. And I hope from here on out, I will put out a lot of content, because ever since the tumor, the mass was removed, me finding the law on my own, naturally being guided, finding the law, I have been studying the law since. That's why I haven't bought the Pearl of Great Price completely. Because if I did, I wouldn't be able to put myself through these experiences and study the law like I want. So I'm hoping, because I'm using myself as a test dummy, literally, and putting myself through these different situations in these different manifestations for myself and others, that I'll be able to literally help you out here. So I just wanted to share that. And the best thing I could ever give advice is to have your people that know what the hell they're talking about. Stay away from those people that are trying to clickbait you into buying their services constantly, and do the work. Know the difference between, oh, I like them, I like what they put out, and know the difference between real and fake. For real. Okay? And the whole coach bullshit that's been started, where everyone is you pushed out. Neville did touch on that a little bit, but it's not a lot of what Neville said. The coaches who never really ever, I believe most of these coaches never even read this man's book. I'm convinced. Okay, they heard it from other people, or they watched other YouTubers on it, or they just read very minimal. I bet you if I was to walk into their house, most of them wouldn't even own a Neville book, and if they did, it's probably no more than one. I'm being honest. So I don't want you to go down that wrong path, and I figured since it happened to me, obviously God guided me to where I am, and I figured I really can give some feedback to you guys and really help you and go from there. So check out my next video coming soon, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.